I suppose this story, first of all, starts with Lockheed Martin, easily one of the most genuinely engineeringly impressive, like, airspace companies there probably is out there at the moment. They have done a lot of impressive things and made a lot of very, very, very nice planes over the years. Anyone will be able to tell you that. The most current, of course, would be the F-35. But not just the F-35. Indeed, most of America's most recent uh, fighter planes, even probably most other, shall we say, countries around the world, fighter planes are, if not currently still in active service, the F-16, probably changing over to the F-22, but of course, now wanting to maybe or maybe not go over to the F-35 program. And bear in mind, the F-16 program, or at least the F-16 itself, probably one of the most successful planes there is out there. Was it without its difficulties? No. It had its own dodgy development, troubled history. Any plane does. That's why if anyone ever brings up like the troubled development history of like the F-35, well, yeah, any plane has had a troubled development history. If you don't believe me, just look at the development history, for example, of the very much beloved British Spitfire. It might have been, a single prop plane, but oh boy, did that have its own troubled development history of its own. But do we bring that up and say, God, the Spitfire was an absolutely god awful plane that we should have never ever used? No, it's just simply not the case. However, conversations are, of course, now being asked around the fact that Trump has now, well, basically sent after this announcement Lockheed Martin stocks into an absolute tumble after deciding that instead of continuing with the F-35 program, because everything that we know, at least publicly we know, says that the F-35 is probably, if not the most advanced fighter plane there is probably in existence. And if you don't believe me, just look at the recent Israel strike against Iran that happened a couple of months ago. The Iranians never saw it coming. Yet they had all these amazing, incredible Russian radar systems that are meant to be able to see stealth and meant to be anti-stealth radar systems. Never even saw it coming. But instead now, along comes Boeing with the F-47, a plane that, let's face it, no one knows anything about other than the fact there is a picture, basically. We don't even know if it is anything existing beyond the concept drawing, to be honest, at the moment. We just don't know. Trump apparently supposedly said that, oh, it's been flying for like the past 5 years. To which the Russians then immediately replied and said, ha, we've shot down F-35s already. And who knows if that is actually genuinely true. Not, of course, the Russians, because, of course, they're lying. But who actually knows if this supposed F-47 has actually been flying? There's been, as far as I'm aware, no reports. No one has come out and said, yeah, this is the F-47. I've flown it. I've been a test pilot in it. There's no footage or anything like that. But if you thought you were Boeing pulling off a massive coup, replacing your primary rival in that sector, you would be out front and center, probably trumpeting that quite significantly, but they haven't. Because we know it's probably not true. At least, again, going off all current information that we currently know. However, the big, of course, controversy came from the fact where Trump said, "Yeah, we might, we'll probably sell the F-47 to other countries, but we won't sell them the good version. We'll sell them a lesser version." To which, at that point, you've immediately destroyed any export market. Because one of the reasons why the F-16 was such a successful plane, why it was in service for so long, was because other countries bought it, and because other countries bought it, it justified the cost then to upgrade them and build extra stuff for it, and upgrade and up stuff the systems, improve the software, you know, tinker with it. There's so many different variations of the F-16. And if you want a example of a military produced product that was actually bad when it came to an export market, well, just look at our own uh, Challenger 2. The hope was that at least the Challenger 2 would be good for the export market, thus justifying, upgrading it, running new packages for it, stuff like that. Never happened. But Trump doing that and saying that instantly has probably killed the export market for the F-47. Not that, of course, it's the own the domestic the domestic market for it, which will be the American government, won't be good for it. However, it might not have as long as lifespan as they probably say. Meanwhile, of course, this has now sparked rumors, again, thanks to Elon Musk, that, oh, you shouldn't be, buying F-35s because, there's a kill switch in it. Now, this also refers to Canada and, of course, Germany, because after, of course, this announcement, Lockheed Martin was like, we've just lost God knows how much percentage of their business from losing that contract with the US government, but they need now to make sure that they secure other countries that are still in the F-35 program, namely, of course, Canada and Germany in this, that they're still going to order the F-35. And of course, they've been reviewing contracts. And as far as at least we are aware, there is nothing in the contract about a kill switch. Bear in mind, countries do currently operate F-35s, even though in very small numbers. And yet, you would have thought maybe these countries, considering that they have their own mechanics and people involved in that, plane, would maybe have found a kill switch. That's not to say that there isn't, and there not might be, but I would be very shocked if there was, because why would you want a kill switch? Because that would then cause so many diplomatic incidents. The US government would basically be sued by every single government going over this, and it would cause, America's weapon industry probably to implode overnight. So at this moment in time, we don't know. I don't think there is, to be honest, because it's just not worth the risk. But during this time, I'm looking at Lockheed Martin and going, there's a chance to steal back our aerospace industry. Because I don't know how many people are aware of this. Certainly after World War II, we led the way, really, like up until like the like late 70s, early 80s. Like, Britain used to lead the way in aerospace and engine design, but that was stolen away, massively so, by America. Right now, you have a company that has lost God knows how much percentage of his business, as I've already said, that you could just turn around and just go, "Hey, want to bring the F-35 over here? Want to bring that, production line that's currently only one in Texas, over into the UK. Why not? Sounds like America isn't going to be using the F-35 as its main fighter plane, apparently. It's going to be using the F-47. But again, we've seen nothing but a picture so far. And of course, Boeing, infamous for pretty much screwing up every single military contract they have ever touched. So expect probably a lot of stories about what a disaster this plane is. Although who knows, maybe it'll probably get covered up. Certainly under the Trump administration, if it's meant to be named after him, and Trump did it. But there you go. Um, so yeah, there is a massive opportunity. I've said this before, and I've expressed this before. There is a lot of opportunity now to try and steal a lot of American talent, potentially woo some American businesses over here to the UK. It's possible, it's doable. And someone might say, oh, well, why aren't you building your own fighter? Here's the thing, these things take time. The F-35 is right there, ready to go. And while you have the F-35 in service, you can then be developing your next plane. Because planes like this, when they are built, can take about 10 years to get even from like a drawing board phase to actually have like a proven working prototype ready for mass production. It can take a long time to do that. And then, of course, you've got to think, how long is that plane going to be in service for? 10, 20, 30 years. There's a ton of considerations to take into account for these. But hey, who knows? But I do still think there is a huge opportunity for countries to really start stealing a lot of companies and a lot of stuff from America. And like I say, we'll see what happens to this. But yeah, fun times ahead still. And we are what? 3 months in to the Donald Trump presidency. And so much has happened. And on my channel in particular, I've barely even scratched the surface. I don't even know what to think if you were an American channel who, you would be doing this full time. I think you must be spoilt for choice, quite frankly, on what to do and what to cover. But as always, let me know what you think down below. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.